I think what I got the most out of my interview is I interviewed a reading specialist at a school, at the elementary school that I actually used to go to. Her name is Mrs. Welch, and she's the reading specialist at Blue Jacket Flint. And so I was talking with her about assessment and just asked her these questions. And something that I thought that was really interesting was just how heavily they relied on assessment throughout the semester, and just at the end of the semester, and then how data driven the classroom really is, and just how much that is applied to each student. And I think that as a student, you don't even realize how much you are being assessed, and just the impact that has. So one thing that she talked about was they have Wonders and Engage. Wonders is a reading curriculum, and Engage is a math curriculum, and so they use both of these in their there's like a built-in curriculum, and so that's more of a summative assessment where it's usually done at the end of the semester just to see where students are at. And so then the next thing they talked about was just like in the classroom assessment. She was talking about working with younger kids, and how teachers for assessment will informal assessments that are kind of throughout the semester. More the formative are they'll do whiteboards, they'll do Kahoots, they'll do little worksheets, little activities, just to see students' responses, see that they're understanding as they're learning new things. And so there's a lot of different ways that they can do that. So then the biggest thing that they do that has the biggest impact on determining what happens with these students is Acadian's data management. And then they use a benchmark program and scoring for reading and math. And so they do this 3 times a year with all students. Kindergarten through 6th grade, they use this benchmark Acadian's data management program. And so then if the students do not meet their benchmarks, they're then brought into progress monitoring. So this is so this just like sees where students are at, if they're able to get back up to their benchmarks. And so progress monitoring puts them in tiers, which I thought was really interesting, since I didn't know that they ranked it like this. And so, anyways, once they're in their tiers, it depends on where they go. And what they're going to do with these students. And so as far as teams, they have teams that include administrators, the classroom teacher, the reading specialist, paras, anyone that works with the student, and then sometimes parents are also involved at this school. And so the teams meet typically 3 times a year for each of these students that are in progress monitoring, or that aren't meeting benchmarks in their Acadian's data management. And so through this, they're able to determine how often they do progress monitoring, whether this student should be more in the classroom, more outside of the classroom, what's working, what isn't. So I just thought it was so interesting to see all that is going on behind the scenes in assessment with these students, and just hearing the entire process, how everything is very much thought out, and how these scores and this data and this constant assessment in the school is driving how they instruct their students, and what they're going to continue to do for their students. And so it was really cool to see how meticulous it is, and how they're able to identify every little thing that is helping students as individuals, and things that are also things that aren't working, things that they can scratch, put to the side. So I love that they were constantly doing assessment, seeing where students were at throughout, and letting that drive instruction, and then they talked about map testing is also used, and that's end of the year, very summative assessment of seeing where students are at, and determining if they need to look more into where students are at, see what students they need to support, and what students are doing well. So I loved thinking about being able to get that whole perspective of how it is all used together, and how it comes together in teaching, in time in the classroom, and how important assessment is with being a teacher and working in the schools.